Pochettino, Pochettino, Pochettino. It's official, people. It is official.
Hi everyone, it is Mauricio Pochettino. I am so excited to become the new head coach US men national team. Massive opportunity ahead. Wish all the best for the boys tonight on Cincinnati. See you soon.
Congratulations for being shit. Well done for being shit, and well done for being shit. What was going on there?
It is a good time to be a fan of soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, especially if you live in America. And hopefully this is really a sign that we can change the path of the way we play soccer, the way the youth kind of play soccer and the development behind it, really as a whole, and really start to develop the right techniques. I know it's going to take a while for it to trickle down, but this is a good sign as far as the ambition that the head of US soccer is trying to achieve. Here's what Landon Donovan had to say actually recently.
One thing that's amazing about America is we want to win everything and be the best at everything. The problem is that trickles down to 6-year-old soccer games, right? And the emphasis for a 6-year-old should be on getting better, not winning soccer games. And I have, there's coaches that I hear say, this coach we're coaching against next week is my arch nemesis. We have to win this game. And he's coaching 7-year-olds. And I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with you? That's not what it's about. Or this tournament is really important to our club. We have to win.
Yeah, I actually used to coach, or not coach, or a little bit of coaching, but referee little kid soccer back in high school at this indoor soccer facility. And dude, it is intense. It was way intense. And that was like, 15 years ago now. That's been a while. But yeah, he definitely has a point when he says like, okay, even at 6 years old, 7 years old, you don't think it's that intense. I'm telling you, like, you're having to maybe kick parents out of the game because their team is up 40-0 and they're upset that fouls are still being called, or you're being a little more gracious towards the team that's being crushed, because one team is an actual team of kids who want to play soccer and the other team are just kids who are in the sport for exercise.
So of the 10 players, 5 of you might not play as much because we have to win this tournament at 7 years old. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The incentive structure is totally backwards, and we will never compete at that level unless we get that part right.
And yeah, that truly is spot on. Now I don't have little kids in soccer yet, but I definitely have heard some bad things as far as it's hardcore pay to play. If you're not putting in money, your kid might not even play. And then like even where he's saying, even when it comes down to rec is really supposed to be for fun, just to get your kids out, play, learn. And it's still based about winning, which is like a participation trophy that really doesn't mean much except for the team that won it all. I'm not here to knock, all of youth soccer. I'm definitely sure that there's some people that are out there doing the right things, teaching the right things, and trying to get the youth to actually have a chance when they become older as far as the connection. Because I felt like I was a pretty solid soccer player in my youth. And then when you start to kind of get to the college level, you start to branch in, or at least when you're playing at a higher college level, you get branched in with, other types of players. And when you start to see the technique of these other players, you kind of start to see like, oh, dang, maybe I'm nowhere near as good as I should have been or thought I was. So I definitely feel that there's I feel like the American style of soccer is just not taught the correct way. But that's, again, from the beginning. I feel like as a whole, we're not really teaching technique, learning how to play in the specific positions. Now, I'm not saying like at 7 years old, you got to teach them how to be a number 10 or a number 9, but just the idea of being in the right positions, maybe knowing where to be, maybe some type of system where it's similar to Spain, where it's similar to England, where they're really putting an emphasis on the youth, trying to teach them. Now, yes, there's going to be some criticism about, academy players, how they're all robotic. But I think if the main focus can just be the technique, how you strike a ball, where to be, things like that, I think we'll really get further rather than at the youth level just focusing on winning specifically only. And here's a clip from the Alexi Lawless podcast where they're kind of talking about how US soccer is going in a way.
On some level,
Yep.
does it bother you now that the U.S. has an English sporting director, an Argentinian coach, 95% of the players on the national team play their club football in Europe? There is a sense that the U.S. is sort of having to import talent and soccer culture from elsewhere.
It does kind of make me sad that when all is said and done, and after all of this progress and all of this evolution, we're going right back to the well of we don't have domestic talent that we trust. And, you know, rightfully, I'm sure somebody's saying, hey, yeah, we did. We trusted Greg Berhalter, and you see how that worked out. And you can argue on both sides of that. But ultimately,
Yeah, facts.
if it's Mauricio
Facts.
Pochettino that
I
gets
definitely
us
feel
to the
that
promised land
this signing
in
is
2026
definitely a
and
solid
leaves a
one. The
good
fact that they're
impression
willing
of what
to
American soccer
try to really
is,
get
look,
someone
we'll
with a
adopt
high
it.
pedigree. Now, yes, there's going to be some criticism on Pochettino as far as how he did it with PSG and how he did with Chelsea, but I think the clear idea here is he's coached some of the best players in the world, and he's done some really amazing things with teams who probably didn't deserve to do as well, right? And you'd say that with Tottenham. Now, yes, with Chelsea, I feel like he just needed more time. They didn't give him enough time. I felt like all those players combined into one. That team just needed more time to blend, but is what it is. They let him go. And then PSG, same. You know, they were on the downcline, especially with some of those players wanting to leave. Mbappe, I really think he's way overhyped, and there was a lot of emphasis on him kind of breaking through and being the player that leads PSG to win the Champions League. So, I mean, they made it, right? And Neymar was there too. So it's a tough team that's a tough team to balance, especially overall. So I think he's a solid manager overall. I think this is fantastic ambition, especially as an American supporter. Now, hopefully this can trickle down as far as the coaching style into the youth level and maybe put some emphasis or maybe just give some kids the right idea that this is how you can play. Think more about how you play. And it's not all about this run and gun style that we've been used to as Americans, just with the level of quality that we've had. Most of the time, we're pretty much on the counterattack, right? Most of the time, we're set up to defend and then hit a team on the break, at least from what I've seen. Yes, when we're playing like Jamaica or when we're playing Trinidad and Tobago or some random team, we might have more possession. But when we're going against some of the higher quality teams, we are backs against the wall. We have no chance from the get-go and no expectation to win. So if we can just show up, play attractive football, actually, like, let's say, for instance, we're going against a France or a Belgium, right? Like, these are two teams that don't necessarily just keep the ball the whole time and just crush you and press you, right? Teams like England now, I don't know if you've seen the way they're playing, but they are going to be tough to beat. I definitely think it's between them and Spain already because they're playing cutthroat, right? You lose the ball, they get it back immediately. They're on you. So I don't think we're at the level of a Spain and England. They're probably still going to keep the ball because we still lack the players who can handle the press the whole game, right? You need press resistant midfielders and defenders nowadays because the attacking line is already pressing you the moment they lose the ball. And if you're not ready and poised, you're going to get caught out. And you're seeing this in many games. If you watch Manchester United, you saw that against Liverpool. No players who can really, truly handle the press as a whole unit, right? Of course, structure is going to come into place and where to be when you don't have time. So hopefully these things like this can get implemented. We know we have a smart manager. He's going to know what to do with players that maybe aren't the best. And I believe that he will have the respect of all of these players. I mean, this guy's coached, I'm sure, some of these players' idols. So hopefully he can just instill them the right direction, really push for us to actually show some quality in the World Cup that's upcoming, because it's freaking here. I hope we show up. But let's dive into this article as well by Yahoo Sports, just to fill you in if you didn't believe me. So after a week's long wait, Mauricio Pochettino is finally officially the head coach of the U.S. men's national team. U.S. Soccer announced the hire Tuesday evening, 2 days after the Federation's board of directors formally approved Pochettino's contract, which will run through the 2026 World Cup. Pochettino will not coach the U.S. men's Tuesday friendly against New Zealand, but he will fly to the U.S. this week and appear in a news conference in New York on Friday. He'll then take charge of the team for the first time in October. Here's Pochettino's resume, if you didn't know already. Now, he's been around the block, people. This guy knows ball. This guy knows ball. Pochettino will also be the most accomplished coach to ever, most accomplished coach to ever lead the U.S. men's national team. He succeeds Bernhalter, whose only 2 previous head coaching jobs were at the helm of a Swedish club, who knows, and in Major League Soccer's Columbus Crew. The 52-year-old Argentine will be compared to Jurgen Klinsmann, previously the biggest name to ever take the U.S. job. But Klinsmann was known primarily as a player. His only prior coaching gigs were short stints with the German national team and Bayern Munich. He was not a tactician. He specialized in fluff and philosophical rhetoric. Former U.S. men's national team Tim Howard said. That was pretty rough, but still, that then was solid, because at least we were trying to get on a higher level. But again, we didn't get anybody with the true pedigree of coaching a team. And when you're down at the finest inches and you're playing and when you're playing at the highest level, the tactics is what gets you the game, right? Like when you're growing up, one player can do it all. Even in the 21s, you know what I mean? U21s, you can see one player do it all. But when you get to the level of everyone kind of already has played at the highest level, we've seen this before, right? You have to play and put yourself in different positions, right? Yes, you can most likely beat one man, but 2, 3, much more difficult, much more difficult. And then obviously the play style is much more quicker, especially when domestic. Now, international, it's a little slower, but still, when you start to play against teams like England and Spain, they can handle the fast pace because they're just world class on the ball. Like as a whole, it doesn't matter what team player is going to come off the bench. He can probably ball, or his technique is probably better than most players on the opposing team. In most cases, I'm just talking about skill on the ball and awareness of how to play. So yeah, Pochettino, on the other hand, is very much a tactician. As a player, he spent most of his 17-year career in the center of defense for Spanish club Espanyol, which is where he began his coaching journey in 2009. He made his name, though, in England, first with Southampton in 2013, then with Tottenham Hotspurs, which he took to a Champions League final in the upper echelons of the Premier League, and truly established that team as a top 6 team. I mean, that's what they assume they are. So his 5+ years at Tottenham remain the peak of his coaching career since his sacking a few months ago. Into the 2019 and 20 season, he has taken charge of 2 more prestigious clubs, PSG and Chelsea, but failed to exceed expectations as he did at Spurs. He guided PSG to the semi-final of the Champions League and to the French title, but departed after round of 16 exits both Champions League and Copa de France. Before taking the Chelsea job last summer and after leaving in May, he was linked with many jobs, such as Real Madrid and Manchester United. I, as a fan of Manchester United, was hoping that we would actually pick Pochettino. But neither became available. Other top clubs, such as Bayern Munich, looked elsewhere. Pochettino was available when the U.S. flopped at Copa America and Bernhalter was fired, and U.S. Soccer sporting director Matt Croker went looking for a signature hire. So here are some of the players. Of course, I honestly think that Many of these will probably change, especially with the way we play. I think Pochettino is going to want some more technical players. So I feel like some of these players are just not going to make the cut. And I feel like we will have a different play style, hopefully. It's just truly a great time to be a fan of U.S. soccer. We're headed in the right direction from this. Hopefully it can trickle down worldwide. Hopefully we can get more attraction into the sport we love. Yeah, I think this 2026 World Cup is going to be huge, especially where it's at, the cities that it's in. It's going to be very exciting. This will be the first time there's actually more teams playing, so there's going to be a whole bunch more games. It's going to be very, very exciting. But if you made it this far, this is the Pitch Side Report, man. We talk about soccer, football, the beautiful game that we love. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay? What do you think? Do you think we're going to go further? We have a lot of time to truly decide. But actually, do you think that this is just a good sign? Do you think we're headed in the right trajectory as a U.S. men's soccer team? I mean, the obvious answer is yes, but let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think he's going to get us further than we had before or not? Do you think it's going to be let down? And if you're feeling the vibe, subscribe. I really appreciate it if you made it this far, and I will catch you guys in the next video. All right, later.
Everything now before the ball starts rolling out, it's optimism, and this is a fella who's going to be able to take that and convert it, like he has done with his previous teams, into positive energy and something that can build towards their end. He'll make them better. He'll make them better. You know, there won't be that handbrake on. His first operation will be building that foundation within the US men's national team, that they believe in something and they believe in each other, and they believe that it's going to be better the next day. Converting that, Charlie, is a deep task, and it's going to take a lot of miles before he gets there, and it's going to take a lot of energy. He's a tremendous motivator of men. He knows the game inside out. He'll adapt to players playing in the right positions in different areas to get the best out of them, and hence the best out of the team. It's all in that area of advancing through their optimism and building on it. Even if they go through defeats, I think Pochettino will bring it out of them. And I think I wish him all the very, very best of luck.